I absolutely refused to do social media. So you're constantly around the camera. Doing music and doing the other work I had, I was so frequently, so often around computers. I was consistently working, even as a musician. Most people think you just have your instrument by your hand and you're practicing all day, but when you're trying to get gigs, when you're trying to set things up, when you're trying to put things in places, when you're trying to mix music, when you're trying to do social media for that, and music is heavily based on having to do social media to get people to follow you, so you're constantly around the camera. Or some of my other daytime work might be in my studio where I have 4 screens. My normal screen, my main screen, I have a screen high left, and a high right, and a screen low right. And I just have 4 screens sitting in front of me. And I really wanted to disconnect. Even my mixer control is on the tablet. And then my phone is my, you know what a phone is. And my phone is my phone. So everything's on this flat screen. And I'm sitting in a room with all these screens and all this technology and all these blue lights. And I just wanted to do something and touch something specifically with my hands. And so when it came time to do social media for my hats, even when they were just for me, to share them with friends, even for that sake, I absolutely refused to do social media. And that's kind of a nice similar story for sacred refusal. So I walked into, and I believe it was a Saturday, or a nice weekend, and I walked into a Nordstrom rack. My wife and I, we were out shopping, and I make the hats because I make the hats for me. So I had a hat on. I had this nice mustard yellow hat on. It's got a green and a red band on it. It's a gorgeous color. And then I painted the bottom of it like a gray. But it's a nice hat. It's a nice hat. I'm at Nordstrom rack, and we're just sitting there, and we go to the checkout counter. And at the checkout counter, the checkout guy, he's like, "Man, I love that hat. Where'd you get it?" And I tell him I made it. I make my own hats. And he's like, "Oh, I'd love to sit down and talk with you. I'd love to learn about things." I say, "Cool, let's have a conversation." And so we go out, we meet at the mall, we have a conversation. And one of the first things he asked is like, "What's your social media look like? Where are you capturing, this journey with hats?" And I'm like, "I'm not." I'm actually not capturing this journey. I got some pictures on my phone, and my wife has pictures because she does a better job of taking pictures than I do. And so there are pictures that she had, that I had, something like that. But at that time, my social media, I had Instagram probably, but I put a thing up there a time or two, and it's just a picture. And I tell friends, it was the old school version of Instagram. Like, you post a picture, you tell some friends, and that's the end of it. And that was it. I didn't necessarily tell anybody. I don't think I had followers. Even my friends would go look at the pictures, but they wouldn't necessarily follow. It wasn't active in that nature. And because it was something that I was doing because I just wanted to do it. And I didn't want to go through the process. I didn't want to go through the struggle of setting up a camera, to take the right angle, to do this, to have, the cameras. I have the camera set up here. I didn't want to do that. So I was fighting it. And let's be honest, part of it is because you are putting something out there in the public. You are doing something and allowing other people who might not just be friends to go ahead and see and to throw opinions on and to be involved with. And this is something I was just doing because I wanted to, because in many ways I needed to. It's just part of my story. And so when he asked the question, like, what do you have on your social media? How's that looking? I'm like, oh. so here we are. We are 3 years in to doing this bad boy now. And if you go back through my media brain, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or all that stuff, you're just starting to see that I'm putting out social media. Now, I've been putting out a lot of stuff now that I record. I just put out a bunch of stuff, but you're just starting to see that there's a social media journey because, honestly, I was refusing to make this process public. And I was refusing to open this journey up to others. Sacred refusal is really so much along that line, that idea that that journey that you take, that process that you take, you refuse to let others affect it. You refuse to let others see it. I know in my era, when you were trying to do something, it was, I remember the Dr. Dre lab where they say Dre fell off where he'd been. I've been down in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get this label off. And I think that has changed a lot, I guess, from what I see people do to how I was doing it, how I learned to do it, how I guess not brought up to do it, but the idea that you just go into a place and you do work. And a lot of times, a lot of people pull out the social media and they pull out the cameras, and a lot of people are recording stuff these days. Well, I don't begrudge them that. People do things differently. But the journey within yourself, the journey inside yourself, the journey where you're trying to figure things out and discover things, where you're taking these steps to grow and to adjust and evolve. I believe that plays in with the idea of hiding from social media because that's inner work. That's inside your being. That's being yourself, pushing yourself, doing yourself, And while some work is public, all work isn't meant to be public. And that work isn't meant to be public because you're not growing. That work just kind of isn't always meant to be public because the world hasn't earned that work to be public. If you go out on a date, if you go out on a date on your first date, right? You go out on that first date. You don't go out on that first date and tell that person everything about you. You don't give them all your secrets. You don't tell them. It's first date. You go out and you learn a little bit about them and you talk and you let them know something and you figure out how trustworthy they are. And then you do the same on the second date. And you do the same on the third date. And you continue doing that through multiple dates because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that this person can be trusted. That this person can be trusted with who you are, can be trusted with the personal things of you, can be trusted with your heart, with your soul, with your inner being. Like people have to earn that because what's lost in the world of everything being accessible is that sometimes people miss nuance and they miss the concept of learning or the concept of growth or the concept of the journey. They miss the idea that, when I first started this, I sucked. There's so many spaces and places for me to grow and evolve in doing this, and to grow and evolve in life and doing everything. And it's not until you get to that place, it's not until you get to a certain place where you feel like you've reached a safe point for yourself that you want to go out and you want to show the world and say, okay, I've reached this point now. Because there are a lot of people who don't give you the space to learn, who don't give you the space to make mistakes, who don't give you the space to be able to say, I don't know. who don't give you the space to say, I'm still figuring this out. And who don't give you the space to say, you know what? I thought I had that figured out, but not quite. Or who don't give you the space to say, I was halfway there, I'm still only halfway there. I'm all of who I am today, but not all of who I am going to be forever. And so it's good. It's actually good and beneficial. Beneficial for you to actually to protect yourself and to protect that feeling of who you are and of who you are becoming until the time where you're ready to put it out there, where you're ready to be able to resist the pressures against you, where you're ready to be able to say, hey, you know, this person made a comment, I didn't like it, but so what? That's when you hit that point of being able to release information and release the world into seeing certain things. Until then, you get to stay in a nice state of sacred refusal, just fighting and pushing back, and more so really protecting, so that, you know, so that the being of you, the soul of you, the spirit of you that needs to be protected can be safely held and safely protected. That's a good antidote into why it's good.